Before social media and streaming, one woman ruled the world of polite British chaos, Hyacinth Bucket. Keeping Up Appearances wasn't just a sitcom. It was a mirror held up to every neighbour who ever cared too much about what others thought. Fact 1.
Have you nothing for this address?
Sorry.
I'd be greatly obliged if you'd make quite sure.
The name Hyacinth Bucket became one of the most iconic in British comedy, but Patricia Routledge nearly turned it down. She feared the joke might wear thin, a single pun stretched too far. Yet once she read the first script, she realised the name wasn't just funny, it was character. The very sound of bucket carried class anxiety, snobbery and embarrassment in equal measure. Hyacinth's obsession with correcting it to Bouquet gave her both power and insecurity. During filming, Routledge would even correct the crew if they mispronounced it off-camera, staying in character between takes. The name became a running symphony of denial, each correction funnier than the last. Fans still debate whether she truly believed in the illusion or simply refused to break it. Whatever the answer, Mrs. Bouquet became shorthand for anyone who polishes an image no one else believes. It's a name that turned embarrassment into art and gave British manners their loudest voice.
Vicar, when they're on the brink of the grave?
You're not on the brink, Rose. You've hardly set foot in the cemetery.
Fact 2.
Then why is he crying?
Because the donkey was carrying him away from his mummy.
Hyacinth's house with its spotless curtains and polished front step wasn't a studio creation. It belonged to a real family who lived there throughout filming. Every morning the crew arrived to transform it into Hyacinth's suburban palace, carefully placing her porcelain and lace. The owners sometimes peeked through windows to watch Patricia Routledge at work, amused by how convincingly she scolded the neighbours. The attention to detail was obsessive. Every flower arranged just so, every doormat brushed. Fans assumed it was filmed on a soundstage because it looked too perfect. But the illusion of domestic control came from reality itself. Between takes, Hyacinth's perfection often collided with real life. Children's toys would appear on the lawn, sending the continuity team into panic. That tension between ideal and imperfection mirrored the entire show's theme. Even off-screen, Hyacinth could never quite control the world around her.
Daddy would never come here looking for his ration book. Not in his long johns.
Fact 3.
Slow.
Do you mind if I open my eyes up slowly?
Clive Swift once revealed that Onslow, the beer-loving slob who balanced Hyacinth's snobbery, was based on several men he'd met at pubs in the 1970s. He admired how they were always happy, even when life gave them little to brag about. Onslow's relaxed defiance became the show's secret heart, the reminder that contentment beats class every time. Swift kept his performance natural, never mocking the character he played. His chemistry with Judy Cornwell, who played Daisy, came from genuine affection. The two spent rehearsals joking and trading gossip like an old married couple. Onslow's car, the famous rusted Cortina, was a running gag, but also a symbol of quiet freedom. While Hyacinth performed her life for approval, Onslow simply existed. Fans later said they envied him more than her. The brilliance of the show lay in that reversal. The man everyone was meant to laugh at became the one who truly understood happiness.
Would you class it as A, alien, or B, friendly?
I wish you'd stop watching Open University.
Fact 4.
In fact, it's very like one of these. Come to think of it, it is one of them.
Patricia Routledge crafted Hyacinth's accent like a weapon. She mixed northern vowels with upper-class inflections to create a tone that didn't exist in any real region. The sound was carefully inconsistent, perfectly polished one moment, slipping back into ordinary speech the next. Routledge said she wanted the voice to betray Hyacinth's anxiety every time she relaxed. It was her way of showing that pretense requires constant effort. During long filming days, she kept a small notebook filled with phonetic reminders of how Hyacinth would pronounce certain words like bouquet, Sheridan, or manor. That dedication paid off. Even linguists later analysed the accent as an example of linguistic class camouflage. The performance turned speech itself into comedy, proving that aspiration can be heard long before it's seen. When Routledge finally dropped the voice between takes, crew members said it was like watching a balloon deflate. Quiet, calm, and utterly different from the woman the world adored.
I know them a family, and you know I love them dearly. Just in case any friends are passing, I'd like just to keep our little secret.
Fact 5.
Sheridan, how lovely to hear from you, dear.
He's had all the Christmas money he's getting.
Hyacinth's unseen son, Sheridan, became one of the great mysteries of 90s television. We heard about his expensive education, his artistic friends, and his constant need for money, but never saw him. Early drafts of the series actually included him as a full character, with an actor cast and lines written. However, during rehearsals, the creators realized he worked better as a fantasy, an off-screen extension of Hyacinth's self-delusion. His absence made him larger than life, the perfect unseen symbol of her misplaced pride. Every phone call from our Sheridan was an opportunity for Patricia Routledge to deliver a masterclass in comic timing. Fans invented their own theories about him. Some thought he was lazy, others believed he was secretly rebelling in art school chaos. The writers enjoyed the mystery too much to resolve it. Sheridan became comedy's most famous ghost son, a reminder that sometimes the funniest characters never appear at all.
We can hardly begrudge the boy the odd £50.
£50?
Just a minute, dear. Daddy seems to have a problem.
Fact 6.
Hyacinth, what are we doing here?
Hyacinth's beloved Blue Rover became almost as famous as she did, but behind the scenes it was a constant source of trouble. The car used in filming was old even then, chosen specifically because it looked just expensive enough for her aspirations, but not so new that it seemed believable she could afford it easily. Unfortunately, the vehicle had a habit of stalling at the worst moments. During one outdoor scene, Patricia Routledge had to stay in character while pretending to praise the smooth engine, even as the smoke from the exhaust covered the crew. Rather than reshoot, they kept the take. Her exaggerated politeness made the accident even funnier. The car often refused to start, forcing other cast members to push it down the road while cameras rolled. Clive Swift joked that it had the same temperament as Hyacinth, vain, noisy, and unreliable. By the final series, the Rover was treated like royalty, parked indoors to prevent further breakdowns. Fans still remember the sight of her waving proudly from the driver's seat, completely unaware that her perfect vehicle was falling apart around her.
It looks a very respectable garage.
Looks a very expensive garage.
Fact 7.
Have you ruined your dress?
No.
Oh, I see. Just my table.
Josephine Tewson's portrayal of Elizabeth, the eternally anxious neighbour, was so convincing because it came from genuine nerves. She admitted she was terrified of ruining takes by laughing, and that fear became part of the character's DNA. The trembling hands, the teacup disasters, the wide-eyed panic were all heightened versions of her natural reactions. During rehearsals, Patricia Routledge would tease her gently to make her giggle on purpose, knowing it helped the scenes feel authentic. Elizabeth's constant tension became the perfect counterpoint to Hyacinth's suffocating control. The teacup scene, where she inevitably spills something, was never written the same way twice. They liked to see how far they could push her before she broke. Tewson once said that the laughter from the crew was what helped her get through each episode. Off-screen, she was calm and gracious, but the moment she heard Hyacinth's voice calling her name, she felt her hands start to shake. That transformation made Elizabeth one of the most relatable characters on British television. Every viewer who's ever been trapped by an overbearing friend saw a bit of themselves in her.
There's nothing wrong, dear. No. It just needs a little something. Like what?
Fact 8.
Richard, I have reason to believe that something's pooped in my polyanthus.
Many fans assumed the series used canned laughter like other sitcoms of its era, but most of the laughs were recorded live. The show's studio audience became part of the performance. They watched, gasped, and howled as Hyacinth's disasters unfolded, just meters away. Patricia Routledge loved the immediacy of that energy. She called it the heartbeat of comedy. Sometimes the laughter was so long they had to pause filming until it settled down. Crew members nicknamed certain scenes Hyacinth symphonies because the audience's reactions rose and fell in perfect rhythm. In one episode, the laughter lasted over 40 seconds after Hyacinth fell into a canal, leaving Routledge soaking wet but triumphant. She once said, "You can't fake that kind of joy. They're laughing because they recognize her." The genuine laughter gave the show warmth that no studio trick could match. Watching it today, you can still feel that human connection, the sound of real people losing control as they watch a woman lose hers completely.
There'll always be a welcome for you at the Bouquets.
Fact 9.
Anyone who kisses Hyacinth twice is entitled to walk back into the house.
Hyacinth's garden always looked immaculate on screen. Crisp hedges, spotless borders, and perfect floral displays. In reality, the garden was constantly fighting against the British weather. Between takes, crew members raced to reattach fake flowers blown away by wind or rain. The roses weren't always real either. Some were carefully painted plastic designed to survive the lighting. Patricia Routledge treated the garden as part of her character, often fussing over props before each take to make sure Hyacinth's standards were met. There was even an incident where she accidentally pruned a real bush while pretending to garden, to the horror of the property owner. The visual perfection of her front yard symbolized everything she wanted the world to believe about her life: ordered, elegant, and unshakable. Yet just behind the hedge, the crew huddled under umbrellas, holding wigs and teacups. The contrast between beauty and chaos became the soul of the series. On the surface, calm. Underneath, pure pandemonium.
I will not have you speak disparagingly of my compact kitchenette.
Fact 10.
You were still bone idle, work shy and out of condition.
Judy Cornwell, who played Daisy, brought more depth to the role than anyone expected. While Daisy was often portrayed as lazy and dreamily romantic, Cornwell gave her a quiet wisdom that balanced the show's absurdity. She imagined Daisy as a woman who knew exactly how ridiculous everyone was, but decided not to care. That perspective made her performance both hilarious and oddly moving. In interviews, Cornwell said she thought Daisy secretly pitied Hyacinth, not because she was cruel, but because she saw how exhausting pretending could be. Her ability to laugh through Onslow's laziness or her sister's bragging turned her into the show's emotional anchor. Many of Daisy's best lines were delivered softly, as if she was letting the audience in on a private joke. Cornwell's subtlety was often overlooked, but it was essential. Without Daisy, the show's chaos might have felt hollow. With her, it had heart. She proved that comedy didn't need volume to have power. Sometimes a single raised eyebrow could say everything.
Oh, you've got to have the sherry. Oh, bugger. Sorry.
Fact 11.
The mock Tudor two-story semi-detached.
Some storylines were almost too outrageous, even for Hyacinth. Early drafts included scenes where she tried to host a charity gala for royalty and accidentally set fire to the buffet, or where she organised a canal cruise that ended with the boat sinking completely. These ideas were toned down, not because they weren't funny, but because Patricia Routledge believed the comedy worked best when it stayed believable. She argued that Hyacinth's disasters should feel like the kind of humiliation that could happen to anyone, just magnified by pride. Even so, a few moments pushed the limit, like when she tumbled into a bush mid-monologue and kept acting through it. The director left it in because her dignity never cracked. Those unpredictable accidents became part of the show's charm. Behind every perfect event Hyacinth planned was chaos waiting politely at the door, hat in hand, ready to destroy everything she'd prepared. Fans loved that balance. Elegant farce with just enough reality to make it sting.
Completely conducive to contemplating cosy, charismatic country cottages.
Fact 12.
You can always tell when a person's musical.
Filming Keeping Up Appearances required near superhuman control from the cast. Patricia Routledge's delivery was so sharp that even the most disciplined actors cracked up during takes. Clive Swift confessed that he ruined countless shots because he couldn't stop laughing when Hyacinth bragged about Sheridan's superior musical friends. The crew began keeping a laugh count, noting how many times each actor lost composure. Routledge, ever professional, rarely broke character, but her eyes sometimes betrayed the effort. To keep scenes flowing, the director often left small giggles in, knowing audiences would never notice. The laughter behind the camera became a kind of secret applause, proof that the humor worked on everyone, not just the viewers at home. The chemistry between the cast came from genuine affection. They adored each other, which made the teasing and tension feel real. Their ability to stay serious through absurd situations remains one of the reasons the show still feels alive today.
I'm warning you, Richard. I will not have you being unfaithful to my hats.
Fact 13.
Now, when you leave this property, my husband here will lend you a blanket.
Hyacinth's outfits were chosen with military precision. Every pastel dress, pearl necklace, and matching handbag was meant to tell a story about her desperate climb toward respectability. The costume designer described her as a woman who never met a floral print she didn't trust. Patricia Routledge had input on every ensemble, preferring clothes that looked slightly too tight or over-decorated, signs of effort just exceeding elegance. The hats were her crown, each one towering higher than the last as Hyacinth's delusions grew. Even her shoes had a purpose, polished enough for status, yet uncomfortable enough to make every step a struggle. The visual comedy came from contrast. She dressed for garden parties when visiting her sister's messy house and for afternoon tea as if meeting the Queen. Her wardrobe became her armor, her disguise, and occasionally her downfall. Fans still debate which outfit best captures her essence, but all agree that no one ever made embarrassment look so impeccably dressed.
Sheridan's education and background, surely he ought to be in the executive's revolutionary vanguard.
Fact 14.
I remember when we used to mess about.
Sharp-eyed fans noticed that one recurring neighbour, who often appeared in Hyacinth's street scenes, suddenly disappeared halfway through the show's run. He wasn't written out, he simply stopped being used after the actor fell ill and retired quietly. Rather than replace him, the team decided to leave his absence unexplained, as though he'd moved away to escape Hyacinth's hospitality. The subtle realism of that decision delighted long-time viewers. Life in the show's world continued naturally, with comings and goings never mentioned aloud. It added a touch of authenticity to a series built on exaggeration. Hyacinth never noticed the missing neighbour, of course. Her world revolved entirely around herself, but attentive fans still mention him in discussions, treating his silent departure as a tiny piece of sitcom folklore. In a show obsessed with appearances, even the quiet vanishings became part of the illusion.
Don't appear to be in a hurry. The hallmark of the perfect hostess.
Fact 15.
Oh, thank you, dear. That's very kind of you.
Decades after its final episode, keeping up appearances remains a cornerstone of British comedy. Hyacinth Bucket has become more than a character. She's an archetype, a cultural shorthand for pretentiousness dressed as perfection. Patricia Routledge's performance is still studied for its precision. Every tilt of her head, every overpronounced vowel, a masterclass in timing. The show found universal truth in the smallest things. A phone call from our Sheridan, a knock at the wrong door, a teacup trembling in fear. Reruns still draw audiences across generations, proof that class anxiety and good manners never go out of fashion. Fans continue to quote her lines in everyday life, half in mockery, half in admiration. Hyacinth taught us that control is an illusion and dignity a moving target. Beneath the laughter lies a gentle truth. We're all keeping up appearances in our own way, and perhaps that's why we still love her. She's every one of us, just louder, prouder, and far better dressed.